All right, Inspire Beauty, happy Monday. It is the last three Zooms of 2019, and I am just super, super freaking fired up. First of all, I love getting better. I love getting better at what I do, and I hope that you know that every time I host these Zooms, number one, I listen back to how I did so that I can learn from my own self, right? But I also reach out and I ask people for constructive feedback. And one bit of constructive feedback that I got from my amazing husband is that some of my Zooms have been amazing content, but the content could have been like 5 Zooms worth of content jammed all into one, maybe under an hour session. Yeah, and some of you are shaking your heads, and I love you so much because you know I'm long-winded. So I had you guys in mind. I had him on my, like shoulder in my ear talking to me when I was designing this. And I decided rather than in the past, we've done one big old vision board, goal setting, dream casting session for the new year. And this year I thought, you know what? I want to slow it down. I want to start a little earlier, and I want to take our time with it. And so I've pieced this into 3 different Zooms, and I shared about them on the team page. But this first one, we're going to be looking back at the year. We're going to reflect. We're going to do a little walk together. I'm going to walk you through some questions. If you're getting my weekly emails for Self-Care Sisterhood, you got some of them, but not all of them. So we're going to be doing that. Next week, we're going to be addressing the present day, where we are. Like, let's get real with ourselves. Where are we actually sitting? What's getting in our way, right? And then in the 3rd week, please stick around for all 3 weeks, because the 3rd week is the culmination. It is the best and most exciting one. It is where we actually dream forward for the future, okay? It's where we look at our visions and our goals and all that fun stuff for 2020 and beyond. And I do know that that is on the 23rd, and it is so like stinking close and tight to Christmas Day. So please just block out that time in your calendar, and I promise to make it worth your while, okay? So tonight, we're going to be walking through questions. Like I said, notebook, pen, paper, all the good stuff. We're gonna be walking through stuff. And the reality is, you guys, some of these questions I'm gonna ask you, they're going to be like free flowing. It's going to be easy for you to answer them. And it might be something like really exciting for you that brings joy to your heart. And that's awesome. But there are going to be questions where maybe it's going to make you pause for a second. And it's also maybe going to tug at your heart a little bit. That's also okay. I think in our world, we like to only like look back and think about the happy times and think about like, I just want to recreate that. But there is power and depth in looking at something that wasn't ideal and allowing that to motivate where you're going to go in the future. So if anything you answer tonight, you're like, it's like a stab in the heart or the gut, or it's like something it didn't work out the way you wanted it to. The awesome news is, between now, the reason I'm spacing these 3 hours, I want you to have time to marinate on all this, right? So that by the time we come back on December 23rd at our 3rd Zoom of this workshop together, you're ready to look at those maybe mistakes or events that didn't go so well, and you're ready to navigate goals that will get you a different result, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different, right? We're not going to do that. And most of the reason why people fall into that insanity trap is they never take time to do this, to pause and say, what worked? What didn't work? What went well? What wasn't so great? Okay, so I'm going to take us through a bunch of questions. What I'm going to do with each question, you guys, tonight's going to be a lot different than most other Zooms, which is why I said, everyone on our team benefits from this. So please, if you have downline coaches who are not on tonight, have them listen to the replay sometime this week, do the work, and then have them come on next Monday, right? They're going to want to do this. This is not a normal team training. But I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give a space to answer. And then once you're done kind of writing your own answer out, what I would love for you guys to do is share your answer in the chat, okay? And then once I start seeing comments coming in the chat, we can talk through some of that, and then we'll move on to the next question, okay? So in order for me to move along, you need to put something in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to be waiting on you, right? So just help me out by doing that. Otherwise, we will be here for an hour tonight. Question number 1, you guys. What was something you learned in 2019 something you learned in 2019, and it could be an actual tangible skill set. It could be an idea or a concept. It could be an emotion or a resilience that you learned. What did you learn? What is something in 2019 that you learned? Ooh, I'm seeing perfection coming up here in our chat twice. So this seems like a common theme and idea for us. I learned that perfection in anything is not the way to a happy and healthy life. I don't have to do things perfectly. While other people are adding things into the chat about what they learned, I think that perfection a lot of times too comes from this idea of expectations. And I was wrestling with this idea earlier today for myself. Just unmet expectations are usually the root of our disappointment. And so when something doesn't pan out the way we anticipated or expected, aka perfectly executed the way it was in our mind, it leaves us very disappointed oftentimes. And so sometimes perfection just is simply letting go of expectations and the unmet ones. Yeah. Importance of saying no to things that don't fill my heart and soul. Boundaries. Boundaries was a topic we talked about in book club earlier, way back at the top of the year. But yes, learning how to say no. PD and learning that the magic secret in creating a business is to continue to keep going over stopping. Stopping gets you nowhere. Mini progress keeps you moving ahead. Yes, yeah. It's a stick shift mentality, and it can be related to anything in life, you guys. Tonight, my heartbeat, I meant to say this at the top. I'm sorry, I'm going to backtrack. But tonight, my heart is that, like, you see that this business, this Zoom tonight, this time with your community is not about shakes and a workout. Like, I want you guys to be better intellectual beings. I want you guys to be better spiritual beings. I want you to be better in your marriage. I want you to be better in your vocation. I want you to be better at finding things that bring you joy. And the cool thing is, it starts with the tools that I can give you through Beachbody, but man, it expands out everywhere into all areas of life. So I love that stopping gets you nowhere. Mini progress keeps you moving ahead. And that can be in your business, but you guys, that can be in your fitness. That can be in your relationships. It is in everything. That stopping, that stick shift mentality. Oh, it's so hard. It's literally Newton's law, isn't it? Right? Something at rest stays at rest. I hold myself back more than I realized. I hate when I have to gut check myself, right? And you realize the business, you know why this business is so hard, you guys? I was telling another coach this the other day, because we have to look in the mirror a lot. We have to look in the mirror a lot in this business. I learned how to get a routine and how to not fall off the wagon. Yes, there's so much more to self-care than working out and eating healthy. Yes. So much more. Okay, cool. Let's keep going, you guys. And these are things that if you want throughout the week, you can keep embellishing on, but I want to just keep it rolling. Number 2, what is a tough decision you had to make this year? Again, this can be in any area of life. What is a tough decision you had to make this year? I have to tell you that I asked a lot of these questions in the email this week that I sent out to the Self-Care Sisters, and I got back a good handful. And I have to tell you that each one had me in tears as I read it, because like, man, tough decisions, you guys, they're inevitable. You have a tough decision in 2020 that you don't even know you're about to have to make. And that's just part of life. But when you look at every tough decision you navigated this year, like I look at Allison's going to Summit, even though it was hard, right? Us moving to Texas, even though it was hard, letting go of connections to family who have family members who have addiction, staying in a job, even being, even after you're laid off, and then taking new jobs, getting into new roles, right? Those are hard things and tough decisions, but you guys all navigated those this year. So as much as you can sit here and feel that like pain of like the tough decision, even if it's like not settled yet, you also have to know that you're overcomers for making those tough calls and still rising every day beyond it, despite asking for help. Swallowing our pride. I love it. Yeah. Some of these are like ones that I have to learn over and over again. Okay, number 3. And if you keep typing and they come in, that's fine, you guys. I just want to move on so we can keep it rolling. What is your favorite family memory that you have from 2019? If you could take like a snapshot picture of like that one moment in 2019 where everything was perfect with your family, a really great memory, what would it be? Going to Europe. Oh my gosh, Andrea, I am forever going to remember your trip to Europe, because you were such a beast with Morning Meltdown, and just that whole journey, like all eyes were on you. It was so cool to watch you. I think you really, Andrea, I really feel like your journey like went into a new level and a different dimension during that time. It was really, really fun to watch that. Spending 4th of July at the family cabin where you grew up as a child. For me, it was in June. My nephew was just born and I got to go meet him. Amanda's meeting her niece. Visiting your sister-in-law before she passed away, Heather. Cruise at the beginning of the year with my fiance's family. Yes, are you gonna get, you guys, the coolest part is I'm like, I feel like I get to relive these memories with you because you guys showed them. I want you to know that all of these memories, you've either told me, expressed about them in our Self-Care Sisterhood or in Inspire Beauty, you know, shared about it in some way on that journey, or it was on your social media and I was able to be a witness to it. So like, thank you guys. Because I'm like sitting here like reliving your memories and enjoying like nostalgia of like, oh my gosh, I do remember when Olivia got engaged. That was so cool. Thanksgiving backyard, soccer game. Yes. Oh, that's so cool that that was important to your mom too. Putting up our Christmas tree in our first apartment together by ourselves. How fun, Kara. Look at you, girl. I love that. Okay, moving on, guys. Number 4. What is a new friendship that you formed in 2019? What is a new friendship that you formed in 2019? Virtual friendships in our Self-Care Sisterhood, 100%. Katie's done an amazing job over the last year, you guys, of getting involved in the trenches. Regardless if that person's her customer, her coach or not. She's just there. Agree with Katie. Andrea agrees with Katie. Yes, they're so powerful. Something that's really cool as you guys type those out is that imagine right now that there are people who you haven't met yet who you will become friends with in 2020, whether because of social media and, you know, our virtual groups and our family and all this stuff. Maybe it's a live event. That was my elbow, by the way. I don't know if you heard that. That was like really awkward. Sorry. There are friendships you've yet to meet. Some of your best friends right now are being like divinely placed in the right place at the right time for you to meet. And that's a really cool thing to think about, especially if you've ever felt lonely, like I know I have in times, to think that there's somebody you've yet to meet that's being like brought into your life. It's really cool to think about. Reconnecting with a best friend from high school, meeting your challenger, Hannah. Heather says us. Oh, 3 coworkers that gotten close with. Yes. Someone inquired that you got to know. Sister's husband and I have started talking a lot after not talking so much. That's really great. I love that. Okay, next one. What is a new habit that you formed in 2019? Now, when we say habits, you guys, remember habits can serve us. I think of a habit that serves my goals would be, you know, I formed a habit of working out every morning at 5:30 a.m., right? That could be a habit that serves you, but maybe there's a habit that doesn't serve you. Maybe you started swearing more this year because you started hanging out with people who dropped F-bombs left and right, and that's just not your thing, but you just started doing it. I've had those places in my life. Maybe the habit that's not serving you is hitting snooze, and you developed that this year because of a stressful job, right? So habits can go either way. Working out almost every day, morning routine, including gratitude first. I love that. I think the cool thing about finding, if you happen to stumble upon a habit that you created this year that doesn't serve you, I think the cool thing about unveiling that is realizing that you can replace that with something else, right? Replacing that with a different habit. And being aware. I think awareness is half the battle. Morning routine and phone on silent after 8 p.m. Yes, Olivia, you know what? You just reminded me that I have also created a habit around like notifications on my phone this year. So that's really cool. I love that. Protecting our mental space. Went from working out 4 times a week to 6. Started a gratitude journal that I write in every day. Listening to what my body needs. Ooh, Kara, that's a good one. Okay, we're just going to keep moving and grooving. You can keep adding them in if you haven't yet. Number 6, what part of this business brought you the most joy in 2019? Connection. For me, guys, I think mine is, I'll type it in here too, some part of it. I think this year, especially, I finally got the chance to celebrate other people who were moving in their business in ways that maybe our team hadn't seen before. I got to celebrate people hitting rank goals that we've never hit before. I got to celebrate people being consistent with their self-care on social media, celebrating people just rising up and leveling up in so many different ways on our team. And that's just been so much fun. And I think it's really important. If ever you get stuck in your business, if ever you get stuck in, there are parts of this, you guys, that you're not going to love. Every job, at the end of the day, there's something you don't like about it, right? And so if there's stuff, if we start to focus only on the things that we don't like, oh, I don't like, inviting and people don't answer me, or, oh, I don't like, putting myself out there on social media. If we only focus on those things, it's all about us. It becomes a laser focus about ourselves. And I find that the places in this business that give me the most joy are when I remove myself from it and I start to focus on others. right? And so if it's all about me, because they say no to my invite or they're not answering my follow-up, it's about me. But if I'm inviting with joy, it's about them. It's about what I can do for them. So anytime in my business where I feel like there isn't joy, I have to turn the mirror back on everyone else and stop focusing on myself. And so I love seeing connection with the community, Andrea. Hearing that other people have been inspired by you brings you joy. And that's exactly what that is. That's about other people, right? Balance, knowing that it's possible to do all these things. And guys, next week, we're going to talk about that. One of the best things in the book today that we started for December Book Club was that work is not the only area that needs goals, right? And I thought that was so cool, because a lot of times it's like we become like, we become so much about our work and what we do that we forget about the balance of everything else to fill up our cups. Finding people in the community, love it. Yes, it is such a prize when somebody says, because of you, I fill in the blank with a positive life choice. I love that. All right, number 7, who is someone, and this can be somebody that you worked with, somebody on your team, this can be just somebody in your life, but who is someone you forgave this year? And if you don't feel comfortable typing this one in, that's okay. And while you're writing that down, forgiveness is such a challenging concept. And I think there's so many layers to the onion of forgiveness, because I think sometimes you have to learn how to forgive over and over and over again in new levels. But I think it's so freeing. And so even Kara saying, it's not silly, by the way, Kara, but you saying yourself, there's layers to that, right? There's such freedom to that first layer of forgiveness being taken off. There's a weight being lifted every time you do that. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And these can bring up hurts. And that's where I say forgiveness is like a process, right? It comes in waves. And so even just thinking about the fact that you forgave somebody and for what they did, but forgiveness doesn't mean that they weren't wrong. I want you to always remember that. Forgiveness doesn't mean you were wrong or that person wasn't wrong. It just means that you're ready to be free of it. Right? Okay, let's keep going. Number 8, in what ways did you lead in 2019? In what ways did you lead in 2019? And if you're listening to this and you're like, maybe you're newer to our Zooms, maybe you're newer to working the business coaching wise, or wherever you are in your journey, it might be hard for you to find ways that you led in 2019. They're there, number 1. You simply being on this call tonight live is leadership. But number 2, it also allows you places to say, where can I be better next year? So I want you to keep that in mind as you're navigating, where did you lead in 2019? If you find yourself not having enough of an answer, this is a great way to set goals for yourself then. Showing up in our challenge groups consistently, 100%. And it starts there, Katie. If you can't do that, then how do you do the next level, right? Like if God can't trust you with the small things, how does he trust you with the big things? So yeah, I think the smallest areas are the most important to begin with. And then we layer on top of that, right? As we get better and better and better. Spreading positivity, that's good. Go, baby, daddy. Go get him. All right, I'm going to move on to number 9. Again, I'm probably not giving you guys enough time to like really go in depth with these, so you can definitely take these throughout the week and just keep marinating on them. Number 9 should be pretty easy though and fun. What was your favorite program that you completed this year? What was your favorite program you completed? Me and my boy Sean T, all day, every day. Transform 20. This will be my third time completing it in 2019, you guys. I'm kind of mega pumped about it. Morning Meltdown 100. We've got the work. I'm going to be doing that after the new year. 80-day obsession from 2 of you guys. That's awesome. I love it. 80-day obsession from 3 of you guys. Very cool. Very cool. And if you're also sitting here saying, you know what? I didn't complete a program this year. Well, this is why we reflect. This is why we step back, and this is why we say, wait a second. I went 365 days without starting and finishing something. And something I shared with my Self-Care Sisterhood in an email, maybe, I don't know if it was last week or what it was, but like I told them, if you started 21 Day Fix this Monday, you'd be finished by the 29th. And so if you're already sitting here and you're like, I haven't completed a program, or I don't think I pushed myself to complete a program from start to finish the way that I should have, you guys, you still have, it's the 10th, you literally could finish 21 Day Fix, like full out, sharing your journey authentically the entire time between now and the end of the year. So there's still time, right? Never count yourself out. I love this. Okay, number 10, moving on. What was your favorite live event that you attended this year? And it needs to be Beachbody related. What was your favorite live event? We had so many events this year, you guys. There could be a super weekend that you attended near you. Maybe you went to Summit this last year in Indianapolis. Maybe you, I always love the Success Club trip. So mine, the cruise was freaking amazing. We had our very first ever diamond retreat this year. That I think was my favorite event of the year, with a close second to the cruise, third place Summit, but they're all very close. Summit, yes. And if you're sitting here again, if I ask this question, what was your favorite live event? And you're sitting here and you're saying, I didn't go to any live events. Now we know in 2020, live events matter. And all these ladies, I'm sure if you reached out to Olivia, if you reached out to Allison, if you reached out to Heather, myself, Amanda's been to live events. Not sure if any of you guys, if the others have gone to Super Saturdays or anything like that. But if you reach out to somebody on the team, say, can you just tell me, like, why Summit? Just tell me in like a couple sentences, what's so special about Summit? Why should I go? I guarantee they're going to give you a really, really transformative answer. And Katie, I love that you said yet, because she already has her ticket for Summit next year in New Orleans. So yet is correct. Guys, there is a Super Saturday coming in January, so make sure you're checking out near you where there is a local one. It is the weekend of the 10th, 11th, 12th. But live events, you guys, live events are a big deal. And so I say this all the time, that a connected coach is a successful coach. And it starts on, are you connected to the team page? And if you're connected on the team page, the next level of that, the next layer of connection is to get on these live calls. But there's only so much that we can do through a screen together. And so to be able to be around each other live and in person, very transformative. Bonds, friendships, it's great. My best friend in this business, I met through Super Saturday. It's so cool. Okay, moving on. Who is someone you loved celebrating in your business in 2019? Who is someone you loved celebrating in your business in 2019? Super Saturday is, no, I'm pretty sure they can attend. They just have to pay the fee. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can ask the question again. Who is someone you loved celebrating in your business this year? And I went to go write and type, like, my initial thought was I loved celebrating each of our coaches that got to Diamond this year. Leah was the first one in the top of the year. Aaron, shortly after that. We had Kristen go Diamond right at the cutoff for Summit. Amanda going Diamond. So cool to watch those coaches push for such a big stretch goal. But then I think about, like, immediately I think about you guys. I think about every Monday night when I click, screenshot and take a picture of everybody who connects in on Monday nights, celebrating the coaches that attended Summit, celebrating the coaches that got their first win, celebrating coaches who are just on social media just trying to figure this whole business out, right? All of you guys, man, I can't even, I could stop thinking about. Yeah, Katie's been really fun following for sure this year. Katie, my girl. Okay, moving on. And again, guys, I hope these are leaving you clues. If you had to think wow, I didn't really feel like I had a lot of people to celebrate this year. First of all, I think you're making celebration too big of a thing. There's very small little things. Guys, I just gave away coffee to Olivia today for doing a workout on Friday. You know what I mean? That's a celebration for me. I'm celebrating that I got coaches who are showing up on the weekend and it's not silent on our team page, right? So everything matters. Everything matters. But if you're feeling like I didn't have a lot of stuff to celebrate this year, or maybe I'm just getting started, so I don't have a lot of customers or a lot of coaches yet to help get started, to help celebrate, well, now you know where to fill the gaps, right? Okay, moving on. Okay, sorry, we're going to go down a little bit. We were just up, we're coming back down. What was a painful moment you went through in 2019? Painful moment you went through in 2019. Realizing the job that I wanted for 2+ years wasn't what I expected it to be. And at the year's end, I'll be done with it. Wow. Expectations again, right? Isn't that it's coming up again, that whole idea of perfection and expectations, and just, I really hope that as you're writing these things out, you see patterns where you can then decide, okay, is that something I need to focus in more on? Dealing with a new and very challenging boss. Yeah. I want you guys to know, as you're writing these painful memories or experiences or situations, circumstances down, that you're still here. Everything that could have, should have derailed you, you got back up. You're my kind of people. You're my people. My people are the kind of people that go through hard freaking stuff and they get back up and they fight. Those are my kind of people. So when I think of who do I want to attract to this business, that's who I want to attract. You guys. I want to attract the people who face hard things and say, I'm still worth it to show up. I'm going to navigate this. I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I'm going to have faith that it's all going to work out, and I'm going to use it for something. You're going to use it for something. The challenging boss, the job that didn't meet your expectations, hitting the walls, right? overwhelms, depression, all there to leverage you into a better version of you in 2020. And in the work we do, the gift of the work we do, you guys, it's there to teach you, or it's there for you then to teach other people how to navigate it. Everything you're going through is so that you can be a light for someone else who's not at that spot yet. You get to be a light for them. And you're still here regardless of all the challenges that you've encountered. So even if it was painful to write some of that or relive any of that, or you're still feeling the pain of it, know that it all passes. It's an ebb and flow to everything, but that there's a purpose for every pain. Thank you guys for sharing those. So number 13, where do you need to focus on personal development in your life? Which role? Now we all play roles in our life, right? Leadership roles. If you're a coach, sales, influence, marketing, maybe a role in your marriage or relationship, maybe navigating a role that you're in specifically in the work that you do, maybe the role of being mom. Personal development is exactly that, you guys. I recommend a book every month for book club because I think it's amazing to get us in community. I love seeing the light bulbs go off with you guys. I love nudging people to do personal development who might not otherwise do it, right? But you also have to understand that personal development is that. It's personal. So every month, my book club, it might not be what you need in your life, and that's okay. Or what this might mean when you look at where do you need to focus on personal development, maybe you need to look for podcasts or mentors or role models to cling to in those areas so that you can grow in them, right? If you're struggling. I'm going to move on to the next question. What skills, and this is kind of similar, can be similar to the very first question I asked, but what skills and talents did you develop this year? So I asked you what you learned this year, but what skills and talents did you develop this year? Maybe you learned how to play piano this year. Maybe you relearned how to ride a bike. You hadn't ridden a bike since you were a kid and you got on a bike again and you relearned how to ride a bike. Maybe you learned how to knit this year. Maybe you taught yourself a different language. Maybe you taught yourself how to use Instagram stories. Maybe you had to relearn how to play piano this year. Yes, Andrea, piano's just a gift for you guys out there. You guys are the gift. I can't do the two separates. I could never get the piano. It was a challenge for me. How to bell train Luna. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. I hope in 2020 you have a hunger for learning new skills, new talents. Learn how to do a handstand, okay, without a wall? No wall? All by yourself? That's pretty impressive. I need the wall. Let my feet kick back on it. Not quite yet. I love it. I love it. You guys, I hope you have a hunger for learning. I hope you have a hunger for learning. I hope you go into 2020 and know that, the silliest things might just fill your cup up, right? Bell training Luna. How funny is that, right? But you did it in 2019. You learned how to bell train your dog. And here you are now. Okay, continuing, moving and grooving. In what ways, I love this one. This is going to be so good. In what ways did you contribute to the team in 2019? How did you contribute to Inspire Beauty in 2019? Maybe you commented on posts all the time. Every time there was somebody new to the team, you welcomed them in with open arms and made them feel like they were the most special person to join our team. Maybe you celebrated every Thursday during recognition. You made sure that you were celebrating people. Maybe you're contributing because every time you listen to a podcast, you shared that podcast on the team page so that other people could get their hands on it. Maybe you contributed because you were present in book club. Maybe your contribution was growing our team and adding new people and new faces and new energy in there. Maybe your contribution was your presence, being at Summit, being at live events, and sharing takeaways from that. Contributed by being present on team calls. And as I'm asking this question, that also might be a gut check question. That might be a question where you're like, oh, I've left room to add more to my contribution. If you feel like right now there is room for you to grow in this area, that's amazing. I would hate for us to get on this call today and everything I asked you, you were at the end of your road. You're like, yep, I learned everything I could learn in 2019. I made every tough decision like a boss. Every memory was my favorite memory because my family is magical. We're like unicorns. We get along. We have the perfect family. There's no weird uncle in my family. I have all the friends in the world. I love everybody. They love me back. Like if you had that, and the only person, as I'm talking, like I feel like I sound like Donald Trump, honestly. Like that's how I feel like I sound because like, it's like you're like floating above everything, right? That's not what I'm getting from you guys. I'm getting that there's room. And that's exciting. We could sit here tonight and we could beat ourselves up about that room. Like, oh, I didn't contribute enough. Oh, I didn't learn enough. That's not, I hope you understand that this Zoom is not even doing that tonight. I hope this Zoom is lighting like a fire in you and a flame in you and a hope and a desire, a yearning to fill the gap, to get a little bit further in 2020. I love that you guys are participating in our team calls. I love catching replays when you know you can't be on live. Yeah, and I love that right now you can already start finding ways to grow that in 2020. Okay, last question of the night, you guys. I asked this, and I'll explain what I mean, but what was your top of the mountain moment in 2019? If you could look back on the whole year, and I would love it to be, I'd love you to find a Beachbody related one first. So in our business, on our team, in your self-care. But your top of the mountain moment, meaning like your proudest moment of 2019, where you felt like you made it, you arrived with something. I love it. 99 days. Take that, Jericho. Hitting diamond. Yes. Finishing Morning Meltdown and traveling abroad in Europe. I love it. What else? What else put you on the top of the mountain this year, you guys? In your business, in your self-care. Getting through the first 2 to 3 weeks of Morning Meltdown, seeing significant improvements with my health. Yes. So good. Mine has 2 parts to it because there's 2 parts. Well, there's really 3 parts. Holding and achieving 2-star alongside Leia was a top of the mountain, which then allowed me to open up my second business center, which was just a dream of mine to like franchise. Like guys, I don't know if you know, but when you hit 2-star, you open up a second business center. Basically, think about it like Starbucks franchising. So now there's not just one Starbucks, there's 2. There's not just one Brittany, there's 2 Brittany's on Inspire Beauty. I got to duplicate myself. So I have my own coach. That's me. So it's pretty cool. And so that was like a really big dream. But the third part of that dream manifesting was getting to stand on stage representing you guys for all that hard work. Whew, and I could cry. So I'm going to read your answers instead. Completing 80-day obsession with every workout 100% on schedule. That is not an easy task, including taking my Select Tech weights to Colorado. I remember that. And continuing the program while skiing. I remember that. That was so cool. Going to Summit was a big deal for me. Heck yes, it was, Heather. You're fearful. I know you are. But Heather, did it kill you? Not at all. And there's so many things I've witnessed in Heather this year just to stretch herself out of her comfort zone, and she's leaned into it all. And man, if we could all just be a little bit like Heather next year, where we just lean into what's uncomfortable. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I love that. That was attended and came out a better person. That was a top of the mountain moment for me. And I hope if you're not attending Summit that like convinced you, oh my gosh, I want to be at the top of that mountain too. Last week, I feel like I just have actually committed to myself and myself here finally. Olivia, there's been a different energy about you on your social media. I felt it too. I don't know if anyone else following her has felt that, but you started sharing your check-ins every Sunday with your side-by-sides. And yeah, even when you got sick, you didn't let that derail your voice on social media. You allowed that to be part of the journey. Like there's been a definite shift in you, Olivia. I'm very excited for where this is taking you as you keep it going. Yeah, it's happening again. Ooh, oh my gosh, my laptop almost fell backwards. You guys, you almost like tipped. So cool. And the reason that I finished, this is that you guys, we're wrapping up, and I hope you found some value in these questions, and I hope you go back and maybe dig into some of them that you didn't get to really peel back enough on. But top of the mountain, the reason why I ended with this one, and where I'll end it for tonight, is that every time we get to a top of the mountain moment, and all of you had them this year, and no one of ours, I want to express, is more significant than the other, right? Like my top of the moment isn't better than Amanda's top of the moment versus Olivia. Like, no. We are all collectively better when we can get to the top of our personal mountain. Because once you get to that mountaintop, the coolest thing happens. And some of you who've been with me for a while, you know what I'm about to say, but when you get to the top of that mountain, you get to stop and look around and realize there's actually more mountains to climb. So you never get to a top of a mountain and say, I made it. Now I'm done. I'm going to post up camp right here. No, that's not what happens. You get to the top of the mountain, you look around and you say, wow, this is a really freaking cool view. I worked real hard to get up that bad boy. And now watch me do that. And that's kind of where we are. So we've gotten a chance to reflect, look at some of the mountains we had to climb, some of the goals that we achieved, and all the in-betweens, favorite memories, all that fun stuff. I encourage you, go share that with the people. If somebody popped up in this, like tonight, send them a text message. Let them know you're thinking about them. Like let them know, hey, that memory meant something to me this year. Yeah. I encourage you to share this with your loved ones, for sure. But the cool thing is next week, we're going to kind of dive in right where we left off. We've kind of see what happened this year. We have a good, clear picture of where we were, where we went. And before we talk about where we're going to go, because that'll be in the third week, next week, we're going to talk about like who we are right now in this moment, like what all that did to put us right here. And that, as cool as it might sound, is also a little bit of a gut check, because we have to kind of look in the mirror at where we are, right? So that we can be ready to move on to where we're going to go. So I'm excited, you guys. Thank you so much for doing this with me tonight. Thank you for being on with me tonight. Sarah, hello. I see you popping on here at the last second. If you guys can turn your cameras on, I'd love to take a picture. And then we will skedaddle. Yay. Oh, I love the pictures with kids. Okay. All right, ready, everybody? Remember, just hold it. Just hold it for a long time, okay? I'm going to count down, and then you just hold your smile. 3, 2, 1. Yay. All right, ladies, thank you so much for doing that with me tonight. I hope you found value in that, and I will see you next Monday.